Hi, I'm Joel Ralph here for Canada's History, and we're at OHASSTA and the Association for Canadian Studies annual conference here at the Holiday Inn in Toronto out near the airport, and I'm here with Usha James and Ian Pettigrew, who just did a great presentation on historical thinking and how students can really get into different texts. And some of the examples that you used in the presentation, Usha, one of the examples was a quadratic approach to an image.
Quadrantal analysis, yes. So we were looking at non-traditional texts and what are different literacy strategies you can use around a visual that might be transferable to a piece of more traditional text. And so we showed participants an image, and we then asked them what is the dominant perspective represented in this particular sketch. It was a sketch, C.W. Jeffrey's sketch. But then we made them stop and slow down and look at each quadrant separately. And through that process, they were able to draw out details that weren't evident to them the first time, and that shifted their thinking, their original thinking around perspective. We challenged them to think about what were the transferable skills as they went through that activity that we can kind of name and codify for students so that then they can use them again in other contexts.
And Ian, one of the examples that you were using too was getting teachers to actually sort of think out loud what the thought process is so that all the students can understand what strong thinking as you're reading looks like.
And we would point to two authors, Jeffrey Willem and Kylie Beers, as really great examples of how to conduct think alouds, and we think it's a really powerful strategy because it's about modeling what good thinkers and good readers do as they work through text. And so to understand that no text is neutral, and that also we bring ourselves to the text and what we know, our background experience and knowledge, and from other sources to bear on text as well, that meaning is something that we manufacture and construct. It's not just the transmission. We were using it here specifically with a secondary source to show that secondary sources are manufactured. There's someone behind them, and that we're making sort of that transparent and explicit for students and adults as well. It's about sort of questioning the author, talking to the text, and doing that in a way out loud so that people see what it is that we're doing when we're trying to construct our own meaning and engage in an interactive way with text.
Usha, you talked about too, one of the key things for you was that these are not skills that get used once and then sort of forgotten as the students move on, even to another grade level, but this is something that they sort of internalize and becomes part of their process.
Well, that's what we really hope, and I think that's very disappointing for teachers when they see they've taught something and they've done a good job of teaching it, and yet when the students move to a different grade level or even to a new unit, they seem to have forgotten that particular competency or skill. So what we were suggesting today is that we need to start looking at how do students understand these strategies, reading strategies or thinking strategies, as something that they take with them and then can use in another context. And we both, I think, strongly believe that if we can be very explicit about the literacy strategies, the thinking strategies that we are introducing students to and nurturing within them, and they can do some metacognitive pieces around how did I use it, where might I use it again, it's more likely they're going to transfer those abilities. And
it's important for that, it's that gradual release of responsibility that in fact, when a key word in there is release, that in fact you want them to be independent readers and thinkers. So we need to equip them with the tools to do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for taking some time to talk with us. It was a really interesting presentation, and the package of information that you were using in it will be available on the OHASSTA website.
That's correct.
Yes.
So you can go to canadashistory.ca or the OHASSTA website to find out more information.
Thanks.
Thanks.